Hello, children, and welcome. We meet after a break, isn't it? Well, we sure did miss you. And I'm sure you are missing school, isn't it? Missing being with your friends, missing your friendly banter with one another, missing the food that you share with one another, and the small pranks that you play on one another, and also that harmless teasing that goes on. One student talking about the other, calling out names, and all those things, isn't it? Now, dear children, you all come from different backgrounds. You know, some come from different villages, some come from different communities, different faiths. Some of you are, fair, and some of you are slightly dark. Some are whitish complexion. Some have different names. Some names may sound a little funny. Now, you tell me, is it right for any one of you to be targeted on the basis of your name or your caste or your community? Is it right for someone to bully you or you bullying someone based on that? I am sure it is no, isn't it? Well, let me begin by asking you a question. What do you think is courage? You may say courage is lack of fear. Is it that? No. I feel that courage is the ability to overcome this fear by facing all the odds and obstacles that come in our life and overcoming them, isn't it? Now, why am I talking to you about courage? Because I feel that sometimes in school or maybe in college, some children are there who cannot, they cannot withstand someone targeting them or bullying them or harassing them, and they resort to extreme steps. So now there are some, like they form gangs and they seek pleasure in troubling others. Reason could be very simple. Maybe the name of the child is not good, maybe the child is not dressed properly, or maybe doesn't match their economic status, and so many things. But then there are so many others who are watching. They are standing there silently watching that one child being targeted. Now, who is to blame? Is the person who's bullying the child or the ones who are standing and watching? Well, I feel that both of them are equally responsible, isn't it? Now, why do you think I'm talking about all these things? Yes, it is a part of our lesson that we are going to do today, and that is The 100 Dresses, Part 1, written by Elsor Esther. Now, this story is about Wanda Petronsky. Now, Wanda is a Polish immigrant. She and her family had moved to an American town and she took admission in an American school. Now, the classmates, Vanda's classmates found it very strange, her name very strange, the Petronsky and Vanda. They found it strange because she did not have a common name like Thomas or Alan or Smith and so on. So she became a target of their jokes. Now let's find out more about the story. Hope you enjoy reading and understanding The 100 Dresses, Part 1. Now let me tell you something about the author. Now, the author Elsor Esther, whose maiden name was Eleanor Ruth Estes, was born on May 9, 1906. She was an American children's author and a children's librarian. Now, Esther's books were based on her own life in small town Connecticut in the early 1900s. In 1941, Eleanor Estes was confined to bed with tuberculosis. It was when she was recovering that she began writing children's books, and it was based on her own life and family. When Eleanor Estes was growing up in West Haven, Connecticut, her classmates mocked a Polish girl who wore the same hand-me-down dress every day. The girl claimed she had 100 dresses at home. That just made the bullying worse. Now, Eleanor Esther always felt guilty that she hadn't defended the girl. Years later, she did something about it. Now, The 100 Dresses is the story based on her own life. She is one of those characters in the story, Madeline, and she shares her experience as that girl who received hand-me-down dresses. Now let's move on with the story. Now let me introduce the characters in the story to you. Now the central character or the protagonist is Wanda Petronsky. Now Wanda is a poor Polish girl with a funny name. Polish, when I say Polish, it means a girl from Poland who has immigrated to America. Now she wears the same blue dress every day and is bullied or made fun of by her classmates, especially Peggy. Now Peggy is a rich, smart and overbearing type of girl. She is proud of her social status and she's a rich girl, so she's very proud of that, and also she takes pride in teasing Wanda and keeps asking her about her dresses. Now she has an ardent follower in Maddie or Madeline. Now Madeline or Maddie is a poor girl, but she is Peggy's very ardent follower. Now she does not find the courage to ask Peggy not to make fun of Wanda, fearing that she can be Peggy's target as she herself wears Peggy's hand-me-down dresses. Now let me tell you the plot of the story. Now this story revolves around a girl, Wanda Petronsky, and her classmates Peggy and Madeline or Maddie. Now these girls were always making fun of her. Now Wanda was a Polish immigrant who had come to America with her family. Now she took admission in one of the schools in America, and her classmates found her name to be strange and probably the weirdest in the classroom. Maybe because they all had simple and common names. Now, Wanda was poor and always came to school wearing a faded blue dress. She was quiet and always found sitting in the corner of her classroom. She sat in that part of the classroom where mostly the less affluent and the noisy children sat. Now, she was always made fun of by her classmates either for the faded blue dress that she wore or for her very strange name. Now, Wanda's nature is gradually revealed in the story. Now, this story is set in an American school in classroom 13. Now, this room is divided into sections, and one corner of the room is where most of the students who are noisy and don't make good grades sit. Now, this part of the room is also where most of the mud is found on the floor. This is where Wanda Petronsky goes and sits. And then there are those front benches where the popular students and the ones who study well sit. Now, there's a place called Boggins Heights where most of the poor people live. Now, this is the place where Wanda Petronsky lives with her father and brother. Now, this is not a very good place to live. Now, children, let me give you a gist of the story. Now, it was Monday and Wanda had not come to school, and her absence was not noticed by anyone, not even by Peggy and Madeline, who always teased her after school every day. So her absence was not noticed even by those two girls. Now Wanda usually sat in a corner of the room where there was mud, dirt, laughter and noise. That part of the room which was occupied mostly by the noisemakers and those who made low grades. It was not that. Wanda was a talkative girl. In fact, she was very quiet and shy. Wanda's family were Polish immigrants to America. That means they have settled down in America. They have come from Poland. And now they lived in Boggins Heights, where the very poor people lived. Wanda's classmates thought of her only when they came out of the class and waited to tease her. But that day she was not to be seen. Peggy and Madeline noticed her absence on Wednesday as they had kept waiting for her so that they could have some fun with her. That was very rude, isn't it? Peggy and the other girls at school teased Wanda. They often asked her how many dresses she had. She would tell them that she had 100 dresses. It surprised them, as she wore only a faded blue dress every day to school, and so they made fun of her. They further asked her about her shoes, and she said she had 60 pairs of shoes. And thus they played a game with her of asking her every day how many dresses she had, the color of her dresses, and what kind of dresses she had, and also the shoes that she had. Peggy and Maddie derived great pleasure in her discomfort. Peggy had thought of this game of teasing Wanda not because Peggy was cruel. She was never cruel, not even to animals. She thought that Wanda was time and again talking about her dresses and she thought that she was telling a lie. So she decided to play along and tease her. While Maddie, who was a very close friend of Peggy and was poor herself, felt bad when Wanda was being teased by everyone. She did not dare to stop Peggy from teasing Wanda because she was afraid of losing Peggy's friendship. And also, she was afraid that she might become the next target as she too wore different dresses given by rich families. After a lot of deliberation and thinking, Mary decided one day to write a note to Peggy, asking her not to tease Wanda anymore. But later she tore it up, thinking that Peggy might be angry with her and would tease her. She thought about Wanda's discomfort. She thought about how Wanda had described her blue and green velvet dress with every little detail, and her thoughts got diverted to the upcoming drawing contest. A drawing and color contest was going to be organized in the school, and it was a very important day for the boys and girls of that school. The boys were to design motorboats in the contest, and the girls were to design dresses. Mary thought that Peggy would anyhow win the contest. She was good at designing, and the teacher was going to announce the result of the contest the next day. Everybody thought that Peggy would win the contest as she drew really very well every time. But that day, when Peggy and Mary entered the class, they were surprised to see dazzling designs of dresses. There were about 100 dress designs, beautifully arranged in the class. All the designs were beautiful, and when the class had assembled, the class teacher, Miss Mason, announced the winners of the drawing contest. Jack Beggles was the winner among the boys, and Wanda Petronsky was the winner in girls. Everybody, especially the judges, were immensely impressed by her drawings, and each of her drawing was capable of winning the contest individually. But Wanda was absent that day. Miss Mason showed her drawing to all the students. Everybody in the class clapped for Wanda in joy. They found that all the dresses she used to describe were there. The green velvet one, the blue one, and the red one also. The boys whistled with fingers in their mouth. But Peggy said that she had thought she could draw the same like Wanda. But she realized that she was wrong because all the dresses were beautifully designed, each one with different colors. So you see, dear children, what a strong and clear message this story has for us. See, students come from different backgrounds, but it doesn't make them any different. Every student deserves the same kind of treatment. Everyone is important. Everyone is special. So, on that note, we shall stop and come back in our next video with something more from the lesson. Until then, I would like you to read the lesson, The 100 Dresses Part 1, from pages 63 to 70 to understand the story better. So till we meet again, God bless, take care, and thank you.